I want you to imagine this moment the way I lived it. Because there was a single afternoon when I realized that love does not always end with a fight, or a scream, or slammed doors. Sometimes it ends quietly, with someone packing a suitcase while you are still believing in the future you planned together. When she told me she was leaving, she did not cry. She stood in our living room, calm, almost relieved, explaining her decision as if she were returning a product that no longer served her needs. She said she needed stability, security, a life that felt finished. She said love was important, but reality mattered more. And then she said his name. A man twice my age. Wealthy. Established. Someone who could give her everything now, not someday. I remember nodding, pretending to understand, pretending to be mature enough to accept it. Inside, something collapsed slowly, like a building being dismantled brick by brick. We had been together for years. We had plans scribbled in notebooks, late-night promises whispered in bed, arguments followed by laughter. I thought that counted for something. Apparently, it did not count enough. She moved out within a week. New clothes. New confidence. New life. Her social media became a highlight reel of expensive dinners, weekend trips, hotel balconies overlooking cities I had never visited. She looked happy. More than happy. She looked validated. And I became invisible overnight. The first months were brutal. I replayed every conversation, every moment, wondering where I had failed. I worked longer hours, slept less, lost weight without trying. I avoided places we used to go together. Mutual friends stopped calling. It felt like I had been replaced not just as a partner, but as a version of myself that no longer mattered. Meanwhile, she seemed to be winning. The man she left me for had everything I did not. Connections. Money. A lifestyle that required no patience. She told people he treated her like a queen. That he knew what he wanted. That she finally felt safe. What she did not tell anyone was the price of that safety. Months passed. Then almost a year. And slowly, pieces of the truth began to surface. Through friends. Through whispers. Through moments she did not realize were being noticed. The trips became less frequent. The photos stopped. The smile in her eyes faded even when she tried to pose it back. The man who promised her everything had rules. He controlled where she went, who she spoke to, how she dressed. He called it protection. He called it experience. He reminded her constantly of how much he was spending, how lucky she was to be chosen. And every time she tried to assert herself, he reminded her how easily he could walk away. She stayed anyway. Pride is heavy like that. Then one night, almost 2 years after she left me, my phone rang. I did not recognize the number, but I answered. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Hesitant. Careful. She asked how I was, as if she had the right to ease into the conversation. I told her I was fine. That part was true. She did not waste time after that. She told me he had ended it. No warning. No explanation. One day she was planning a future in his world, the next she was packing her things into boxes he had paid for, being escorted out of a life she never truly owned. He did not yell. He did not fight. He simply said he was done. She had nothing. No shared assets. No savings. No place to stay long term. The lifestyle she had adapted to was never hers. It had been borrowed, and now it was gone. There was silence on the line. I could hear her breathing. Waiting for comfort. For reassurance. For something familiar to hold on to. And in that silence, I realized something that surprised even me. I did not feel angry. I did not feel victorious. I felt detached. Like listening to a story about people I used to know. She asked if we could meet. Just to talk. Just to catch up. I told her I did not think that was a good idea. Not because I hated her. But because I had already mourned that version of us. I had rebuilt my life without her piece by piece. Letting her back in would mean dismantling it again. She cried then. For real this time. She said she had made a mistake. That she thought love could be postponed. That she believed money would fill the gaps. That she did not realize how lonely it would feel to be chosen for convenience instead of commitment. I listened. And when she finished, I told her I hoped she would be okay. That I hoped she would find what she was looking for. Just not with me. After we hung up, I sat there longer than I expected. Not in sadness, but in clarity. The pain she caused me once had taught me how to stand on my own. How to build something real instead of chasing appearances. While she had been living someone else's dream, I had been quietly creating my own stability. A year later, I ran into her by accident. She looked different. Not worse. Just real. Tired in a way that comes from learning hard lessons. We exchanged polite words. Nothing more. No tension. No longing. Just two people who once shared a life and now shared only a memory. As I walked away, I understood something that took me a long time to accept. She did not leave because I was not enough. She left because she believed something external could replace what we were building internally. And when that illusion collapsed, the regret did not come from losing him. It came from realizing what she had walked away from. Sometimes people leave for what looks like a better life. And sometimes, they only realize the cost when the door closes behind them and no one is waiting on the other side.